All right, another podcast, another discussion.
Yes. So, welcome back to Healing Project. This week, it's been a little hard. We've had some anniversaries that have kind of hit home and some other things that have happened. So, life is
Yeah,
happening in the midst of the grief. So, this week alone, we had the passing of Jordan was August. Do we start over?
no, it's good.
August 21st, Jordan passed away. And then just a few days later, the 23rd
Was my
was,
mom's birthday. Yeah, and she
yeah,
passed away quite a few years ago. I had to do the math, but yeah, but it's still very
yeah,
real,
very present.
very present, very much a day that kind of sneaks up on you a little bit for sure.
Hmm.
Sometimes when we experience those dates, we don't we may know that they're coming. We may get reminded that they're there. I know for me personally, it was kind of the end of a long shift. Um, just in a strange season right now, both of us professionally and working
Yeah,
through leveling up in our school, and so we're kind of head down, taking one step at a time, trying to get one assignment done, one shift at a time, and trying to get through the week
yeah,
to try to accomplish the goals that we have, and just realizing on the phone at the end of the shift, reminded that today was mom's birthday.
yeah,
And, sitting right there in the common area for our associates, got 100 plus associates that I'm in charge of, and just tears just started coming down the face. And you're all of a sudden right back in the middle
yeah,
of grief, in the
yeah.
middle of whatever you're doing,
Hmm.
and you're experiencing that. So we want to talk about those anniversaries and how those can impact us, and how do we work through that? How do we give
Right.
ourselves grief grace
Hmm.
in those spaces?
And
So
we know that we're not the only ones. You know,
100%.
we're not the only ones that have those. I mean, I've always told everyone it's like there's the two dates. There's his birthday, and then there's the day that he passed.
Yeah,
Those 2 days, I usually, I even take off of work those
right.
days because I
Because it
know
doesn't disappear,
it doesn't.
right? It may soften for us, it may change for us, but
It's still present.
it still lives inside of us,
Mm-hmm.
because that love is still inside of
It
us.
is.
So we have to work on how do we
Well,
get
this
into a
year
positive
I
space.
had orientation
Right,
going back to school. Had
right,
orientation on Wednesday, which made it not optimal to not be at work the next day.
right.
On Thursday. So went to work and it was really difficult. I just wanted to be home and quiet and still and be able to cry and just have my moment. It's almost, and I don't even know if it's healthy. I guess it's the real thing, but it's almost like on that day, somewhere in my subconscious, I've given myself permission that on that day, it is okay to be still and to cry and to truly grieve, like to really just allow myself to remember what that day was like and what happened and all the things and remember him lowering into the ground and it hits like hard and I don't know if that's healthy.
I think too, and we've talked about this not on the podcast, but, and not for content, but having the conversation about as the week, because I notice, walking with you through those spaces is, it's not, that day is coming, and
Mhm.
the week changes for you. The weeks out change for you.
Mhm.
And we can fall into that space, because the same with my mother is unexpected disease, not having answers. Could I have done something different? Could I have given her a different experience of life? Could I have, there's so many could I
Oh,
have, if I
yeah.
could have, if I would have.
Right.
And I think sometimes our grief mixes with some of those questions. And if we're
Mhm.
not careful, we can mistake grief with almost finding a place of self hatred, and instead of finding a positive place
Yeah.
of grace, just to be not even a positive place, but just a settled place of grace that we allow ourselves to grieve. We
Hmm.
start to, because we don't have anybody else to blame. We don't have an answer. So
Yeah.
who do we turn to?
Yeah.
Who gets the blame or the anger?
We're
We turn it
we're
inward,
an
and it,
easy
yeah,
easy
easy
target.
target. It's
Yeah,
it's easy
for
for
sure.
us. So on those anniversaries, we really have to be aware, and it's okay to grieve, and make sure that we're grieving in a proper
In
way,
a healthy way.
so that we're not turning all those questions inward,
Right. And
and we start
that's
to,
part of what we're talking about
yeah,
today. Jamie Anderson says grief is love with nowhere to go,
yeah,
and then the Bible says in Psalms 34:18, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Both of those things are true,
right.
right? And we still feel the love and we still 100% need the comfort.
We talk about this all the time, that more than one thing can be true at one time,
Yes.
and that's a paradox that has to change for a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people, a lot of couples, a lot of relationships. That two things or three things or multiple things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
You can truly grieve someone and
Mm-hmm.
experience those dates and those anniversaries, and at the same time you can still
Mm-hmm.
experience other emotions, and
Right.
it
I
doesn't
can
have to be
I can
singularity.
not even just the emotion
Yeah,
of how it felt in those days. I can physically put myself back, like
sure,
physically feel the weight of hearing his coffin going down, right? Like
right.
feel that and hear that and almost like I'm standing back in the graveyard, right? And I'm listening and I'm hearing it.
Isn't that though, when we've talked about this, and we haven't even this isn't even our notes, but isn't that because you didn't give for so many years, you didn't give yourself a space to
I
grieve,
because
because you wanted to be the strong,
I'm the firefighter and
yeah,
I had been taught not even by words. So I don't want that to be like what people get from this. And my parents like, rah, 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 don't ever be,
right,
but from example, really more than anything, right? I love my mom and dad dearly. They're better not together, right? Just
right,
bottom line.
sure,
And my mom married very, very young, wasn't emotionally ready to be married. There was a lot of trouble in the relationship, and she kind of went inward. So there wasn't an outward expression of
right.
sadness, love, happy, joy, none of that.
It was just deal with
It
it,
was just right, rub dirt on it, deal with it, move on.
right.
And my father came from Mexico. It's a whole different culture. All of that is seen as a weakness. Like culturally, you don't cry. Men don't
Right.
cry. You don't fall apart. All of that is a weak point in some cultures and some economic stance. It's not allowed.
But you pay for it in other forms.
You do.
That's the part that we have to be aware of. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that if, and everybody grieves differently. Some people
Yes.
may not have that outward expression that someone else has.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't find healthy avenues for grief, you
Mm-hmm.
will pay for it in other areas, in other
100%.
ways. You will pay for it. It will pop up, and we talk about vices a lot. We
Well,
talk about hangups,
vices,
hiccups.
the inability to process
Yeah,
the emotion, it just becomes that toxicity inside that affects us physically. We talked about that. Not dealing with grief and burnout, it
right,
raises your cortisol.
right.
It physically can cause disease to not deal with the turmoil and the mess that's on the inside.
Yeah, and you talked about just kind of knowing that it's coming for you, right? Like
I
it,
knew. I
it's
know it's like I can
you're gonna get
almost
more
feel myself
tired.
like oh gosh, I
Yeah,
could go to bed and just stay in
right,
bed. Like this last week was, and because we had gotten into the habit getting up in the morning, going to the gym first thing in the morning. Me and
right,
Maya had started going together. We'd get up at 5:30, go to the gym, come back, get Mabry, take her to school. Like the routine has become a routine. It's not really a chore anymore, it's what I do.
sure,
And this week, Like it took everything in me to still get up
Right.
because I wanted to stay in bed. I wanted to not
Experts
move.
do tell us that it's absolutely normal for
Mhm.
you to experience grief triggers,
Yeah.
especially early on in that loss. It can be a year or years, and it's very normal for us to experience those, especially around anniversaries.
Mhm.
That is scientifically backed. It's often when those feelings will come back to us,
Mhm.
and a lot of times when we experience the feeling, it will make us believe that we're like we are somewhere all the way back at the beginning, like we've not made any progress, or we're in that passage
Right.
of grief, because grief, if we stay in a space of grief, it can be unhealthy.
Yes.
Grief won't leave us, but it becomes a passage for us,
Right.
and that becomes healthier, so that it becomes a place of gratitude, not that we are just happy about it,
No.
but we become grateful for what we had, what we
Right.
experienced, the life that we were given.
Right.
We can, and again, more than one thing can be true at one time. We can be very sorrowful for the loss that we have,
Mhm.
and as we begin to heal, we become grateful
For the time we
for the
had.
time we had, the memories we had,
Mhm.
things like that.
So the Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who studied grief for decades, well known, said you will never get over the loss, but you will learn to live with it. And I
That's
I
good.
believe that that is so very true.
And
Um,
from a spiritual perspective, uh, I think that the ministry of Jesus as kind of embodiment of the highest good of the divine. There's the promises that were given about in the Beatitudes of
mhm.
blessed are those that mourn, for they will be comforted. It gives us an idea that we will, in life, we will be in the low points of mourning. We will be. It's promised.
Mhm.
Those are promises. Our days are short and full of trouble,
Right. I
and
I think
we still have
about
the comfort promise that even in those dark times,
mhm.
we have.
I think about the stories in the Bible that is it David and then again who was the other that they shaved their head and they would rip their clothes
Sure.
and like it was an
Many times, different
like
aspects.
outward would
Yeah,
roll in
mourning.
at
Sure.
ashes and like they would just it
It
was
was all the
and
way
spend
from,
days.
yeah, from loss of the child with David
Mm-hmm.
and Bathsheba, to prophets of old, begging for people to repent. Mourning was expressive. It
Oh,
was,
very.
biblical spiritual mourning was not hiding it, not suppressing it. It was out loud, in your
Yes.
face, almost disturbing.
Right.
And
It's that travailing,
yeah,
right? I
giving,
remember
but it's
I
giving an avenue.
once I heard this and she was mourning her husband and I'd never really I guess physically heard what that outward just really expression and emotion of mourning
Right,
sounds like. It was disturbing. Like it took me back. I was like it, my heart broke from just hearing her cry,
right,
right? And so I think about that and how I mean, and God was there, right? He
right.
he was present. He hears. It doesn't mean that he takes away, and it doesn't mean, one
One
of
of
the
the
things that I
earliest,
struggled with Jordan was that he had cancer, and there were several people in our church at the same time that had cancer at the same time,
yeah,
and Jordan passed, and another was healed
sure,
and went into remission and got to continue to live life. And I struggled with the why. Well, God, why? Why did the 11-year-old not make it, but the 37-year-old did, right? Like why I didn't understand. And that can become really, really hard. And knowing that God has a plan, right, whether we understand it or not, is really hard. And knowing that we don't always get the answer that we want, but that doesn't mean that He's not present,
right,
right? It's when, like when your kids say, Mabry's on a kick. She wants a PC that costs thousands of dollars at the moment. I'm like, save some money, babe, right? The answer is not always yes, right? We don't always get what we want. And there's reasons that we may not really understand.
Yeah, and I sometimes, faith and spiritual space, for whatever reason, we feel like we have to have an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that aligns with any kind of spiritual experience, because the very fact that we're here, regardless of what your belief system is,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't have a belief system, it's a miracle that we're even on this planet in this vast universe,
Mm-hmm.
that we get seconds, if not minutes, if not hours, days, years. I mean, what
On a
the
rock.
miracle that we're flinging through space,
Right.
the chance that we're even here,
Mm-hmm.
right, is a miracle in itself. And the one thing guaranteed is that we will live, and we will come to a day where we will no longer be on this plane in this form,
Yes.
and somebody will mourn us. What's difficult is when we feel like that time is before what we expected it to be. That makes it a lot more difficult. And you may never have a full answer.
Right.
You may have a good answer that makes you feel better or brings you some comfort, but you may never have an adequate answer, and it's okay.
Yeah.
You're not you're just because you're broken doesn't mean that you're discarded,
Right.
or it doesn't mean that the journey is ended, or it doesn't mean that you lack faith. It doesn't mean any of those things. If just because you don't have an answer,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I appreciate you, and you are, trying to find that, hold on to that,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and that there is a plan, and that there may be, and it's okay to say yes, but you don't know what that is,
No.
or what that looks like,
Mm-hmm.
or how that might fit for somebody. And somebody may need to hear this, that it's okay not to understand why. And
Right.
you're going to go through grief. You're going to go through stages of grief. You're going to go through stages of anger. You
Mm-hmm.
may be angry at yourself or someone else or family member or something that happened or didn't happen. You may be angry at the Almighty,
Yeah.
and that's okay. It's
It is.
okay. It's okay to go
He's
through
a
that.
pretty big God. I think
Yeah,
he can handle it. He can handle my little anger.
absolutely. Absolutely. And the truth is that in all of this, know that you're not forsaken. You might be heartbroken,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not discarded. And what's hard is, as we go, the same week that we experience those things, we went back to school, and we're getting into the routine. You already made reference to it, of, everybody's excited that you're taking the first day of school photos and the silly stuff that you see on Facebook, and
Right.
everybody's feed is the same, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
the kid holding their sign, or
Well,
getting
and
ready for the
so
day.
all the kids went back. This week, we went back.
Yeah,
This week was our beginning back into our
right.
college routine and orientation and getting all the classes and everything set up and getting all the books and all the things that we need to continue through the fall semester. And that is a huge milestone, chaotic. Some people say we're a little crazy that we're both in school and we both work full time and we do this and we have the girls and we have four grandbabies and and but I think it's that the milestones collide and the anniversaries of things that are really sad for us
Right.
and the excitement of the promise of what is to come
Yeah.
all in the same week, like literally within days.
Right. You had written about Brene Brown, and she wrote this, that grief and joy are not opposites; they sit side by side in the same heart. And that is true. It's exactly what we feel. It's exactly what we experience. We experience the chaos, the
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, the stress, the
Yeah.
joy, the excitement, also the sorrow of anniversaries, the sorrow of losses, the sorrow of having those, things that pop up,
Yeah.
and they are truly, it's a real life, real emotions.
It
And
is.
give yourself grace that it's okay for you to be in that space. It's
Yeah.
okay for you to feel multiple things at the same time.
Right.
At the same time.
Well, Ecclesiastes reminds us that to everything there is a season, right? And a time to every purpose under heaven. And it's okay. Sometimes the sad and the new and the joy
Right.
and those milestones overlap, and it's okay. It's
Right.
okay to have them at the same time, and to know that you're not alone in that. Um, One of the things that we learned is anniversaries don't have to be days of dread. We can find a way to carry the love forward. We talked about some of the routines that you can do. We've often, when we pass a Catholic church, or one of the religions that have candles that you can go and light in memory of someone that has passed on, we often stop and light a candle,
Mm.
just in memory of
Right.
them. And so that's kind of one of the things.
You can flip through old photographs.
Yeah.
You can tell stories, not just remembering just the sorrowful things, but as you're on that journey. And again, it's not staying directly in this just space,
Mm-hmm.
but and you won't leave it. You won't leave it behind, but it is meant to be a pathway. It's meant to take you from a place of complete sorrow to gratitude. And it's not saying a false gratitude, but it's actually coming into a gratefulness.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's remember, my mother through things that she did, or her directing choir. We would sing, shout to the Lord every time she had to fill in for the choir director on Sunday night. We were going to sing "Shout to the Lord." That was what we were going to sing, and there was a key change, and she loved it. And anybody that knew my mother and sang in that choir, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Different things like that, that just small little nuances
Mm-hmm.
that bring a smile to your face, or
Mm-hmm.
make you laugh, or whatever that is. It's okay for you to be sorrowful, but it's okay for you also to remember and to
Mm-hmm.
be joyful, and to share a laugh, or
Mm-hmm.
just remember something that was brought joy to your heart.
Absolutely. One of the things, so there are two memories that I have of Jordan that are very, like, just vivid for me. One, I'd taken him to New Orleans for his annual checkup. He'd have to go have MRIs and stuff done because he had cancer previously, right?
Right.
And him and I had gone, we had gone to get the MRI and stuff done. And we had a long pause between the MRI and then going to see the doctor for results and all of those things. And we had to get a shunt revision looked at, things like that. So in our break, we went down to the French Quarter to the fountain that
Mm.
I often stop at when we're walking around down there. And we'd gone to that little fountain, and there were some, what do they call now, homeless,
Unhoused.
unhoused people around the fountain, that there often are. And Jordan never met a stranger,
Yeah.
never. And so we had gotten bottles of water and a snack. We're sitting and we're, putting pennies in the fountain, and just waiting and chit chatting. And he looked up, and there was this gentleman that was sitting there that obviously looked very thirsty and very
Yeah.
unhoused.
Those that indulge in the bohemian lifestyle.
Yes. So Jordan got up and went and gave him his bag of beignets
Yeah.
and his bottle of water. And the man was like, "Oh, no, no, no," and Jordan was like, "It's okay," and touched his hand and said, "Jesus loves you."
Yeah.
And that man sat there and cried. But that was Jordan's heart. Jordan loved everyone that he met.
Right.
We would be going through for the MRI, and he'd tell everybody, "God loves you. You're okay. I'm going to pray for you. God loves you." Like, that was his heart. So that was one of my memories, which is why I love the fountain so much every time I go. And then the other is that child loved to dance and could not dance to save his life,
Yeah.
but he loved to dance, and he would bust a move anywhere, anytime, and had the most infectious laugh. You couldn't help it.
Sure.
You would dance with him. But
Brother.
those are my two very vivid memories of my boy.
And the truth is that bringing those to our forefront,
Mm-hmm.
and not just being buried in many times loss is accompanied with long battles, struggles,
Mm.
and if we're not careful, that's all we remember. Worked with a lot of families that come to end of life ceremonies and services, and they struggle so much right when that loved one has gone
Mm.
to remember anything besides the last few years of them being sick or them. It's a struggle, and oftentimes family members will later on be able to have more clarity because when they're in that season, all they can think about or all they can remember
So
is them
hard.
being in a hard space, whether
Yeah.
that's sickness or whatever the details were. They
Mm-hmm.
they almost can't remember
The
the
good.
moments
Yeah.
around the fountain or joyous dancing.
Mm-hmm.
They can't remember the funny stories or
Yeah.
the weird key changes on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, holding on to those and going and returning back to those is really, really healthy. In the Journal of Positive Psychology,
Mm-hmm.
it tells us that finding rituals of remembrance, things like writing letters, lighting candles, like you talk about, storytelling, whatever that is, will actually help to build a resistance in our heart against that hopelessness, and it will help to heal complicated grief syndrome
Mm.
in our life. So that's a really, really strong ally
Mm-hmm.
for us finding a healthy way to grieve and to be on the journey, because
Absolutely.
grief can be a prison that we get locked in because we're not going to get away from it,
Mm-hmm.
but we can travel with it, and it can be a companion of gratitude
Mm-hmm.
rather than just a prison that we're locked in.
Well, and then scripture says, therefore, encourage one another and build each other up. When we share the rituals, they don't just comfort us, they can
Yeah,
strengthen the people around us.
yeah,
Like you never met Jordan, right?
right,
And I never met your mom.
right,
So it, but we 100% participate in the memory and the rituals with each other
yeah,
to help honor,
100%,
that loss and those people in our lives that meant so much.
100%. Yep. I've this is really personal. We're sharing a lot, but I've gone to his grave
Mm-hmm.
and had conversations, about you with him as his mother, and that's because that's a vital part of who you are, and remembering not only your present but your past, and celebrating all that, the good and the strong parts, and the weak and the broken places. Is all what makes us, because that day is coming for all of us.
Yes.
The day when we'll no longer be here is coming for us, and someone will grieve for us, and hopefully we can show them the way forward by the way that we grieve. And we sat down and had kind of a hard space, and I sat down with my girls and just said, "Hey, look, sorry that today has been a little difficult, and this is the reason why.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm upset with you or you've done something wrong. Today's just a hard day," because they might not even remember.
Remember?
It
Yeah.
may not have impacted them that the way that it impacted you, and that's okay too, because we want everybody to go. Well, here is Beverly Hayes' birthday. Don't you care? And when we get into those feelings, those
Yeah.
negative feelings, we can get
Yeah.
upset, angry, and we're shaking our fists at the Almighty.
Yeah.
We're angry with everyone around us,
Right.
and that's when we start turning
Mm-hmm.
those levels of grief
Well,
and anger
it's so
inward to
significant.
ourselves.
It's so significant, right? And then when no one else acknowledges, it's
Sure.
like, well,
What? Yeah. Don't
what
you understand?
do you not
Yeah.
remember?
And
But
that and again, that's again bearing one another's burdens when you're aware.
mm-hmm.
When you're aware that something is coming up significant for someone,
Right.
if it comes across and it crosses your heart or your mind,
Mm-hmm.
reach out to them.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate to do that, because we're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of, we've got our
Life.
head down. We're trying, most people are just trying to get to the next payday. They're trying to make sure they have enough for their family and take care of the things that they have and need to do. So
Right.
it's tough. It's tough to remember, hey, someone else is going through the same thing
Someone's having a
I'm
hard day
feeling, yeah, that
today.
I'm
Right.
feeling
That I
today.
felt last week,
Yeah,
or yeah.
absolutely.
So we want to leave with some tools that you can use for these anniversaries and these sad days and moments. So we want to talk about just a few things that could help. So
Number
first,
one,
go
journaling.
ahead. Mm-hmm.
Journaling is a big one. Write freely, let it pour out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hold back. If you don't want anyone to read it, we've talked about this numerous times. Write it down and burn it, throw it away, whatever it is, but don't hold back. Let that grief have some avenue. We've got one of our children are observing right now, uh, but let that grief have an avenue. Let it have an avenue, something that you can give space for those emotions that
Mm-hmm.
surface. Number two, practice gratitude.
Yes.
Practicing gratitude, it actually rewires our brain, and it gives us a sense, not just a sense, but it gives us fortitude. It
Mm-hmm.
gives us the ability to handle those really hard situations, and it gives us resilience against hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
So practicing gratitude, make a list of things that you are grateful for, share it with someone else that you remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then third, give yourself permission. You've done this in the past. You've known, hey, this date's coming up. I'm going to take this day off,
Yeah.
right? And this this past week, it just happened that
Too
new
much in one
opportunity,
week.
yeah, new opportunities came along, and it just wasn't a possibility. So it didn't align.
Mm-hmm.
But you have in the past kind of taken that and known, like, hey, this is coming. I know this is going to be a hard day. I'm just going to be in a space where no one needs me for anything. I'm not going to be asked for anything, and it could be a day I take a little extra rest.
Right.
um take a
Just allow
little
yourself
extra
to
time.
cry.
Right,
Be
right, right.
still.
Be still.
Yes.
So those are really good things. So what are some prompts that you
So
can use in
yeah,
journaling?
so there's some journaling. Some people are really new to journaling, and it can be very intimidating sometimes just to
Right.
look at a blank page. So we talk about journaling quite a bit. So here are a few prompts. What's one story about your loved one that you never want to forget? What's an emotion that you're carrying as the anniversary arrives? What's new rituals that you could create this year to honor your loved one? And how have I changed since their passing? And what do you carry forward from their experience, right, to and into today?
Right.
How have they changed you? And where can I invite God's comfort into this memory? And I would add, who is someone, because we talk a lot about not doing things alone and knowing that you're not walking alone. So, who is your safe person?
Yeah.
Who is your safe space that you can allow into that grief with you?
There.
Not to wallow
Yep.
necessarily, but just so that you have comfort and you have someone that sees where you are.
In different spiritual environments and traditions, there are grief groups, and you can Google in your area,
Mm-hmm.
find space, healthy space where you can share.
Yeah,
It's
it
important
is.
not to feel like you're all alone. And this is the only reason we're talking about this, is so that people can relate and not feel like, hey, I'm all by myself. It's been this many years and I'm still dealing with it, or I'm
Right.
still upset about it, or I'm still sad when this day comes around. It's okay. It's
Yes.
okay. So, again, the promise in the Psalms is that He heals the brokenhearted. He is there to bind up their wounds. That is given to us to know that healing is possible and it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's not a prison that we have to stay in. It's not something we're going to escape. Grief is going to travel with us, and it can become a partner with us that we become grateful. We become grateful for the time that we had with that person.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap up, we want you to know that you're not alone in your anniversary, whether it's this week, this month, or sometime this year, that you're not by yourself, and that you're not walking alone. Many people suffer and I guess suffering may not be the right word, but go through grief and need someone to walk with them. So know that you're not by yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a promise, a futuristic day of like what heaven would look like. That
Hmm.
next, whatever that next is. And I wish we could see into there, but there will be a day where all the tears will be wiped away. There will
Hmm.
be no more sorrow, no more grief. And until that day comes, uh, we know that we can hold on to hope, that we're not alone, and that we can walk through this journey and find a space for grace to grieve well.
So our encouragement just continues. Just find one way this week to carry your love forward. Either light the candle, write the memory, tell a story, or share in the comments how you honor your anniversaries. Um, because what you do may encourage someone else that needs a way to honor what they're carrying.
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. We're going to end on this. This is the quote: "Grief never ends, but it does change. It's a passage. It's not a place to stay. Grief is not a sign of weakness. It is not a lack of faith, but it is the price we pay for love."
Mm. And we believe that love is always worth the price.
Absolutely. Thank you all very much. Please like and subscribe, and have a blessed rest of your week.